You set the alarm for 5 a.m. You had a plan, a real one. You were going to wake up, hit the gym, work on your goals, and finally become the person you keep telling yourself you will be. Then the alarm goes off, and you hit snooze. Then you hit it again, and again. By the time you actually get up, you feel defeated before the day has even started. Not because you are weak, not because you do not want it badly enough, but because you are running your life on willpower alone, and willpower is the most unreliable fuel on the planet. This is not a motivation video. Motivation fades. You have felt motivated 100 times before, and here you are. This is about something harder, something more permanent. This is about building discipline into the architecture of your life, so that winning is not something you hope for. It is something that happens automatically. Most people have it completely backwards. They believe that disciplined people are just built differently, that somewhere out there are humans who simply do not struggle to get off the couch, do not fight the urge to scroll, do not battle their own brain every single morning. That is a myth. Discipline is not a personality trait. It is a system, and if you do not have the system, you will lose, every time. Here is what is actually happening inside your skull. Your brain has two core operating systems running simultaneously. The first is the prefrontal cortex, the logical, goal-oriented part of you that set the 5 a.m. alarm, that wants to build the business, that knows exactly what needs to happen. The second is the limbic system, ancient, primal, and powerful, the part that wants comfort, safety, and immediate reward. Every single morning, those two systems go to war. And without the right architecture in place, the limbic system wins. This is not a character flaw, it is biology. Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman called these two systems System 1 and System 2. System 1 is fast, emotional, automatic. System 2 is slow, logical, deliberate. The brutal truth? System 1 runs the show about 95% of the time. You are not consciously choosing to be lazy. Your brain is defaulting to its lowest energy setting, because that is what it was designed to do. Evolution did not build you to crush a morning routine. It built you to survive, and surviving meant conserving energy wherever possible. So the question is not, how do I become more disciplined? The question is, how do I build a system that makes the disciplined choice the path of least resistance? There is a concept in behavioral economics called the default effect. It states that humans will almost always choose whatever option requires the least activation energy. When you wake up and your phone is on the nightstand, the default is to scroll. When your gym clothes are buried in a drawer, and your gym bag is in the closet, and your pre-workout is in the kitchen, and you have to remember to pack your water bottle, the default is to skip the gym. But when your gym bag is packed and sitting by the front door, when your clothes are already laid out, when all you have to do is put them on and walk out, the default shifts. You have engineered the environment so that the disciplined action is the easy action. This is the first pillar of the discipline blueprint, environmental design. Stop relying on motivation to push you toward good behavior. Start designing your environment so that good behavior is almost impossible to avoid. Remove friction from every habit you want to build. Add friction to every habit you want to destroy. Put your phone in another room at night. Delete the apps that eat your time. Put your book on your pillow. Put the junk food at the back of the pantry and put the healthy food at eye level. These are not small tweaks. These are architectural decisions that reshape the entire game. Stanford behavioral scientist B.J. Fogg spent decades studying why people fail to build habits. His conclusion? It is almost never about motivation. It is almost always about the design of the behavior itself. He found that when you make a behavior tiny, attach it to something you already do, and celebrate it immediately, the habit locks in with almost no willpower required. He called this tiny habits. The person who tries to meditate for 30 minutes a day and fails is not weaker than the person who starts with 2 breaths after brushing their teeth. They just designed their system worse. So stop asking, how do I find the motivation to do this for an hour? Start asking, what is the smallest possible version of this action I can do right now, attached to something I already do every day? The second pillar is commitment devices. A commitment device is a decision you make in advance that removes your future self's ability to choose comfort over action. This concept goes back to ancient Greece. Odysseus, knowing the deadly power of the siren's song, had his crew tie him to the mast of the ship before they sailed past. He did not trust his future self to resist, so he made the choice when his brain was clear and made it impossible to undo when temptation arrived. That is the move. Modern commitment devices look like this: paying for a gym membership that you cannot cancel without a fee, telling 5 people you will have the project done by Friday, putting your credit card in a glass of water in the freezer so you cannot impulse buy online, scheduling your work blocks in a shared calendar your team can see, signing up for a race 6 months from now so you have to train. The mechanism is always the same. Your present self locks in a decision. Your future self has no choice but to follow through. The reason this is so powerful connects to another critical psychological principle called hyperbolic discounting. Your brain is biologically wired to value rewards now far more than rewards later. $100 today feels more valuable than $150 in 3 months. A comfortable evening on the couch feels more valuable than the six-pack you will have in 6 months. This is not irrational. It is just the way your brain calculates time. Commitment devices hack this calculation. They raise the cost of quitting high enough in the present moment that your brain finally decides it is not worth it. The third pillar is identity-based execution. This is where most discipline systems fail. They focus entirely on outcomes: lose 30 pounds, make $100,000, wake up at 5 a.m., but outcomes are the lagging indicator. They are the result of 1,000 small decisions made over months and years. And when you focus only on the outcome, every single day you fail to hit it feels like total failure. Your motivation collapses. Your system falls apart. Researcher and author James Clear laid this out with surgical precision. He described 2 layers of behavior change. The first is outcome-based thinking: I want to get fit. The second is identity-based thinking: I am someone who moves their body every day. The difference is everything. When your identity is tied to the behavior becomes non-negotiable. You do not negotiate with your identity. You just act from it. Every time you sit down to do the work when you do not feel like it, you are casting a vote for the identity of someone who does the work. Every time you skip the workout, you are casting a vote for the identity of someone who skips workouts. The votes accumulate. They calcify into a belief about who you are. And eventually, who you believe you are determines what you are willing to do automatically. So starting today, stop saying, I am trying to be more disciplined. Start saying, I am a disciplined person. Say it even when it feels like a lie. Especially when it feels like a lie. Because the identity comes before the evidence. The evidence only shows up after you have committed to the identity first. The fourth pillar is ruthless simplification. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you give yourself a week to do something that should take 2 hours, it will take a week. Your brain interprets open time as permission to delay. This is why having no structure does not give you freedom. It gives you paralysis. The most productive people on earth do not have more time. They have tighter containers for their time. A tight container looks like this: a specific work block, a clear deliverable, a hard deadline. Not, I will work on this today, but I will complete this specific task between 9 and 11 a.m., and at 11 a.m. I am done regardless. That deadline pressure is not cruel. It is clarifying. It forces your brain to prioritize. It eliminates the low-value tasks that eat your day. It creates urgency where laziness would otherwise expand. Combine this with a shutdown ritual, a specific moment every day where you declare work over, write your top 3 priorities for tomorrow, and close your devices. This is not about balance. It is about signaling to your brain that the work block is sacred and finite, which makes it easier to enter and easier to sustain. When the brain knows there is a defined end, it is far more willing to give everything inside the block. Now put all 4 pillars together. Design your environment so discipline is the default. Lock in commitments before your future self can negotiate. Build your identity around the person who executes. And compress your time into tight, non-negotiable blocks with hard deadlines. This is not a hack. This is not a morning routine you follow for 2 weeks and forget. This is a complete redesign of how you operate. You will still have hard days. There will be mornings where none of this feels easy. But that is the point. You are not building a system for the good days. You are building a system that carries you through the bad ones, a system that executes even when you are tired, even when you are uninspired, even when every part of you wants to quit. The disciplined person is not someone who never wants to quit. The disciplined person is someone who built a system powerful enough that quitting is harder than continuing. That person can be you, not someday, not when you feel ready. The system starts today, with the very next decision you make. Build it now, before the next version of you wakes up and hits snooze again.